And here we are back in the bathroom in my Tuscan urban farmstead, where we are going through the final phase of washing off the wool. So this I've already rinsed out. I could be spending more time pulling out the extra parts of grass and so forth that are all stuck all over the place in this wool. I think I'm going to go with the lazy way, which is to let it all dry first and then do the carding. So anyhow, what I did was, this is the previous batch, the last batch from the kitchen sink, from the hot tub sink practically. And as I pulled it out, I was rinsing off the ends like any grime, and there's going to still be some grime attached here. However, this is the next step. I pour it all into this big tub and rinse it off for the first time, and then I turn on the shower and I rinse it off like that a bit. My goal is to have very clean water. Once I have very clean water, I'm good to go. So practically, here we are rinsing everything off, pulling out like some of the briars. This is like one or two handfuls of that wool. You know, when you soak it all out, it's all like that, really little in your hand, it seems. But when you put it in the water, it all phases out. It all opens up, turns very net-like. Now, you want to be careful. In washing the wool, you want to be careful, both in the hot basin and in the cold basin, that you don't be giving it too much friction. Why? Because otherwise you're going to be felting it, and that is not our goal. So this, yes, I'm definitely going to be, now that's just grimy grime. There are strands which still have, you guessed it, sheep shit on them, like that one looks like it. That one looks like it's, no, that's not it. That is not it. But anyhow, you're going to just have to get over yourself and rinse it off. I must say, one thing that really irks me, really gives me the creeps, but you know, it's about getting the job done, is when I find every now and then little parts of sheepskin where maybe the sheep was acting up too much or something, and its skin, real like skin, got caught in, and so there's these little clumps of blood, of bloody thick skin as well. That's really ooh. But for the most part, it's all right. So I just put these all aside, and these, which are the longer strands, will be going into one pillowcase. This is the pillowcase with the longer strands, and once that's full, I'm going to be hanging it out to dry, or like lay it out flat as you've seen in the other videos, or maybe you'll see this all as one big video. I don't know, because I've already made some videos of this last year. Took me a while to decide on picking up, cleaning the wool out, because although I have 10 sacks of this, and I really need to get around to finishing it all, because it is stinking up my wardrobe. Well, not the wardrobe of the clothes that I wear, the other one, where I keep all of the stuff that I'm going to take to the thrift stores, and so you have to get the stink out of the clothes before you can take it to the thrift stores and so forth. But I didn't know exactly what was going to be happening with me these days. There were some situations. I am still looking to move away from here where I am. If I can find a decent situation work-wise and accommodation-wise elsewhere, inside or outside of Italy, really doesn't matter anymore. As long as it's something decent, but as long as it's livable, sustainable. And so now that I know that there are certain situations for which I absolutely must stay put until mid-May, that gives me the possibility of actually making plans. Because when you don't know where you're at, starting up a big, huge thing, starting working on a whole bunch of plans, which you might have to leave halfway, really isn't the most wise course of action. So seems like I might have a chance to be selling off some of this wool. There are people who work with wool, let's just put it that way, either for felting or for carpet making or anything, weaving. And so it looks like that might be an idea for all this wool, besides me, playing my little, like, delving into my keep your hands busy hobbies kind of things. Well, I really do love working with wool. I mean, this is like it's like going back to my childhood when Mom would fill the huge tubs outside the house, back in the day when us women used to do our washing outside in these huge tubs. And she would fill those tubs with water, throw in the wool, and have us kids swim around in it. It was fun. It was fun, and we built antibodies. Real antibodies. That's why we barely ever get all of these various diseases most people are plagued with, or at least the diseases I get plagued with. Well, plagued. It's probably too much. Sorry, I have to watch out with the lighting because I only have one light in this room. You see now here the water is already starting to get darker, starting to get dirtier. So what I will do is just lift this up, pour it out. I pour this all out into the toilet. Pour this out and start again. So I am definitely going to be, oh yeah, my hands, they're pretty red. I have no in between here. I have no heating, no hot water. And so, yeah, it's either you heat it up on the stove or you don't get any hot water. So getting back to the plans for this wool. I definitely do want to be felting some boots, some house shoes for myself, making some felt shoes, and I don't know, there's a whole bunch of possibilities for working with felt. Different kinds. I'm sure you've seen it's all these craftings ideas are all the craze all over YouTube and Pinterest and everything. It's not just about felting fuzzy little cute little animals. It's about felting your clothes. It's about making your own stuff, either for you to be wearing or for you to be selling. To be making, you know, here in Italy for now, we don't know how long it will last. If you are creating, they call it opera di proprio ingegno, means your own ingenious works of your own ingenuity, such as this. If you sell below a certain amount, you don't have to have a what you call it, I think it would be VAT number. Auf Deutsch is in German it's a Steuernummer. In Italian it's partita IVA. If you've here, let me just see that. That's really dirty right there. So I'm just going to squeeze this out before rinsing it, putting it through the second rinse. And throw this away. There you go. If you are selling below a certain amount of money, you don't have to be doing any of that. You don't have to set up your, you know, all of your tax stuff. So the next batch following this one is the next couple of batches I'm going to be having are coming from another sheep with a completely different kind of hair, completely different kind of wool. It's short and fuzzy. Reminds you, well, you'll see it. I'll make a video of that one as well. I've already put that in the basin in the kitchen with the hot water to be what you call it, to be, you know, cleaning itself a bit. As soon as I'm finished here, I'll be going and getting that done. So you'll see me briefly. Once I've finished with the whole sheepskin, I'll be over here doing the rinsing of it again. Meanwhile, here, let's just do this together. This water goes out, and here we have this one, which is this is the bag for the long-stranded, and not only the long-stranded, well, it doesn't look too clean, but the cleaner. This is both long-stranded and cleaner. So this one is pretty dirty, and so that will go with the other group, within a different one. See, this one, it has all of these places where it's really clumpy. There's a lot. This is a lot of work. So this is going repeat myself because I didn't realize that the telephone was telling me there is no more battery again. So this is going to go into third or even fourth quality grade, my own selections, okay? And this one is going to go into the more quality grade, which is this one, the long strands and less junk to be pulling out. So, you know, you have to kind of find your way around organizing your work in a way that works for you, right? Watching videos like my own, see, like that. That's sheep shit. So that's going to go into the rewash part. You have to come up with your own way of doing stuff. It's all fine and good to see other people's way, but then you find your own way. There is no one way is the only way, except for Jesus is the only way, but that's a whole different story. Although when you're working with with wool and sheepskins and whatever comes from sheep, you really cannot help but, here, I'm just going to let that dry, and then when I'm carding it, it's going to come out pretty well. It's really, This one here, you see, because it's shorter strands, it's dirtier, and it's not as nice looking as the other type. This has really been cut very differently, so that's going in the other group. This is going to be the second quality group. This is first, second for this particular sheep. Well, let's call her, I don't know, Goldilocks. We'll call this sheep here that the wool of this that we're using, we'll pretend that the name of the sheep that gave this wool is Goldilocks, you see, because it's got a little bit of gold in there. Yeah. The other one, I don't know. I'm thinking of calling it. I don't know. I'll come up with something. Reminds me of Granny's dog, which then became Mom's dog. But yeah, you see, this one here is so different from the other cut. And yeah, when you don't hear my voice, it's because Facebook is telling me, or the telephone is telling me there's no more battery, and so it cuts off the audio. Now I know, I discovered that. You see, that's sheep shit, so it needs to be washed again. But I really don't stress too much about it, you know, because first you're going to wash it, then you're going to put it out to dry, then you're going to card it, and in the phase of carding, you're going to take extra care with like separating the different kinds of wools from each other, especially if you dry them separately and store them separately so that you don't mix them all together. Well, that is all from the Tuscan Urban Farmstead for now, and ciao.